Morning, everybody. How you all doing? Wait for a few more people to rock up before I get into it. What's happening? Long time no see. What happened to Pisket? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know what happened to Biscuit, to be honest. What's happening, Let's Mars? How are you, man? Good to see you jump back in. Hamid, how are you, mate? Let me just adjust the lighting here. Be a bit better. Lex, how you doing? Sean? It's Monday. At least in Australia. And we've got 1 minute, or 10 seconds left of the daily candle here. So Monday begins. We have broken out of this wedge that we were following or tracking yesterday. So it's good to see us pop out through the top side there. We'll see if we're able to continue a trend going up. Let's open, before we get into that though, let's check out the dollar index. So I think there's a lot of influence by how that's performing. So as you know, over the weekend it's not active, like it doesn't trade, it closes for that period, at least for a day, I think. And if I go down to the 1 minute chart, you can see where we begun. So we're just let's move back here. I think it's here. So see how this is saying Saturday, and then it jumps to Monday. So yeah, we're getting actually a fall in the index here at the moment. So new lows on the dollar index, which is a good start for risk on assets. So that being legacy. Okay, there's a few ways to refer to the traditional markets: legacy, equity, traditional. They all mean the same thing, right? So the S&P 500 basically, and the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones. So as this dollar index falls, now the dollar index, of course, being Forex, it's measuring each country's, or the major countries' currencies against the dollar. So seeing this come down, it just means other countries may be performing better or picking up their performance in comparison to America. However, if there's many factors involved in that, but the DXY is basically an index of a whole bunch of different pairs. Some of those being like, the Japanese yen, the Great British Pound, the Euro, the Australian dollar, I think maybe, and then the Canadian dollar. But yeah, it's basically just an index. So if we go to say, let's go to the 1 hour. And so you actually get a bit of a candle activity on that first hour of the day, except you don't see movement until the following hour begins. So for me, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's already been moving for an hour. And that hour has, seen a bit of upside action to begin with, but since then we have come straight back down to these levels here and made a new low now. So I don't know if that's going to set the precedent for the day, like if that's what today's going to look like, but Bitcoin has broken out the top of this this triangle here, and it's so far I guess looking for support. Now just in the last few minutes, it's been pretty volatile. I've been jumping around the plate all over the place. You can see, it pulled in a high here. What was that level? $17,202. That's a pretty decent push there, but so far there's no clear direction just yet. It's like it's still figuring out where it wants to go. So I'm not not going to call a direction yet, but if it's anything to go by from where we came from, you know, it does look optimistic. Like it looks like, you know, that there is potential for more upside as we broke out bullish from this wedge pattern that we have here. So trying to keep it real. I don't want to say that we're going to go up to 18,000 or anything like that. But yeah, we just have to sort of play it as it comes in. And that's the same. That's the case mostly with any kind of performance on markets. You sort of just have to play it as it comes. Let the chart do the talking rather than trying to apply a bias to it. So yeah, with that being said, yeah, there's every chance that we could come back down and lose this level that we're trying to fight to you know, establish support up here. So I'm going to turn the EMAs on and let's just check how that's tracking. So still well above the 200 EMA on the 1 hour chart. We're seemingly riding the 50 and the 20 EMAs as support. You know, it's been chopping up and down below them, but you know, this wick here sort of shows that it might have found, you know, a bit of momentum. There's a lot of buy pressure here back on this wick, and it was enough to shove the price out of this zone. Now we were dealing with this previous pivot here, this swing high, and it looks like potentially, just at least initially, that was like a swing failure pattern, so a stop hunt or a liquidity grab. So grabbing the liquidity that was that exist just beyond that high there. So we'll see how it tracks. There is another pivot up here that we have to be mindful of. So now the price for that is at $17,324. So the pivot that we just sort of retested was $17,188.98. So basically 17,190. Now, if we go back a couple of steps, let's okay, I'll do a bit of a read over of the oscillators here. So we've got the RSI on the 1 hour. You know, it hasn't gone beyond 70 just yet, so there may be a bit more room for a further push up. However, we have with this Doge pack indicator, it has crossed back below the EMA that's within this indicator, suggesting that this could be like a point, or you know, back here was on this candle was a point of closing along that you may have been in, or opening a short. So now just keep in mind that these oscillators, both RSI and this cipher indicator, they're only a piece of the puzzle. It's not, you shouldn't be basically trading off them solely. You know, don't make your decisions purely based off oscillators. They take a back seat in priority, if you ask me, to things like support and resistance and trend lines. You want to see, you know, where the price action has been, and you want to make sure that, you know, you're not about to face a massive line of resistance or support, depending on what position you take. Sarah, what's happening? Who else we got in here? Oh, it's all. Oh, DC Woodworking, how you doing, man? Ninja, love the look. Appreciate that, dude. Yeah, so let's see what the dollar index is doing. So we've got a bit of a bump up here off that push down. And you know, we don't have a lot of information just yet. The day's still unfolding. It's only just begun, really. So we've seen, you know, a slight uptick, a correction, and now we're seemingly going back up again on the dollar index. So yeah, perhaps that's going to happen just while it figures out where the trend is going to be set in for the day. So at the moment, it's just choppy. there's no real indication of where we're heading. But I just want to see if there's any kind of patterns that we're working with. I mean, let's zoom right out, get a bit more perspective. I'll turn the EMA off. Go back to this tool here. Right, so we broke out of that resistance, obviously. There seems to be some kind of ascending channel that we're dealing with now, thanks to these pivots. So pivot 1, pivot 2 gave us a parallel line, or gave us a line to extend through those pivots. And then if you draw the parallel, you can see it almost lines up really nicely with the top of these. And I'll probably have to adjust that so they're actually in contact. I may have drawn this parallel off on the 1 hour or maybe the 4 hour, so it might make more sense. Yeah, there you go, on the 4 hour. So now this swing high, this push to this price here did fall short of testing the top of this parallel, but I mean it's fairly close. It's almost a test of that of the top of that channel. I think I'm just trying to see if there's any pivots that we may have hit from the past that caused it to pull up. You know what I mean? Just gonna do a fib extension here. Yeah, look at that, a 1-to-1 target hit based off this 1, 2, and then 3 points. So that's a trend-based Fibonacci extension with a 1-to-1 target hit right there. So that's a fairly bullish move. It does seem to be doing some kind of Elliott wave count here. If you want to call, like, that wave 1, this wave 2, this push wave 3 perhaps, and then, wave 4 coming back to here. I'm not 100% on the rules behind how the wave has to play out and how deep it can go, but I do know that it can't go deeper than the top of wave 1. But yeah, I guess the other theory would be that this wave here is still playing out, perhaps. This wave 3, and then, maybe we get a consolidation off that, and then a 5th wave, perhaps, if we do get a break, like a proper break. But yeah, that's overly optimistic. I think it's not realistic, and I try to steer. Like, I'm not a good Elliott wave analyst, so I'll sort of like steer away from making too many assumptions or theories based off that method. So let me delete this fib just so it's out of the way again. So that's likely why, maybe that's why we pulled up where we did. It seemed to be out of the blue where we pulled up, but then yeah, we've got our reason now because of that extension. So if that's the case, like if we hit a 1-to-1 target on this fib move, and we're calling this the lowest point after this high, then we can move this to call that the low, this the existing highest point, and then this one here is the start point. So let's see where the 1-to-1 fib extension leaves us in price. It's $18,116. So that's a little bit beyond 18K there. And I think, yeah, it almost lines up with a retest of this pivot up here, this high that we achieved, on that initial FTX collapse bounce. So we bounced up pretty rapidly and pretty high, all things considered, right? I mean, that was let's see what push that was. Measure it. So from there, bounced all the way up to there. So 16.8% bounce off that low. So pretty volatile back then. There was a lot of movement going on, a lot of uncertainty. But yeah, today, still waiting for direction. There's no clarity just yet. How many people we got tuned in here? We got 25 people tuned in. Glad to see you guys on today. Appreciate the support. Remember to smash the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the support. So that's yeah, it's a good sign. I'm looking forward to seeing these viewer counts go up. It's kind of going to show that public interest is increasing, and maybe that's an indicator in itself, like to see if more activity through the smaller channels is filtering through. So my channel's a tiny crypto channel, as you guys know. It's not big at all. So I think we've got like 7,000 subs, which is, I'm still grateful for that. It's awesome. But yeah, perhaps in the next cycle, like in the next bull phase, more of an audience comes in and we get more people in the community. So that'll be cool. Let's jump back to the 4-hour chart here. So as far as oscillators go on the 4-hour, like we have hit a high here of in an overbought area. We've dipped back down. Just trying to see if there's any kind of trend here. Seemingly we've found, some kind of support here, which was based off the bottom of this wedge. And then we're slightly maybe traveling back up. So I guess we want to see a higher high on price, and then we would want to see a higher high on the RSI here on the oscillator, just so it's not divergent. If it is divergent, that's when you know that this move has been exhausted, and that it's more likely to turn around and retrace. There'll be a lot of people that will need help onboarding to crypto and markets. They'll come in a wave when it's time for that part of the cycle. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen. It happened to me. Like I was in your boat at one point, guys. So looking for a channel, like looking for content to find out more about crypto, and then I stumbled across a channel that had a Discord community, so I joined that, and the rest is history. And then there's been a few channels that I've been in and out of, and then I decided it's time to try this out myself and make a channel, because I thought I've got a bit of knowledge behind me. I'm not an expert by any means, but if I can help people that haven't got any experience to just get their foot in the door, then that's great. That's the mission so far, until I develop further as either a technical analyst or a trader, that kind of thing. So let's check out Dogecoin, because I know that's obviously our pet favorite coin. I'll just adjust these levels again, sorry. I remember on the last stream we were comparing these two wedges, and I was saying that, if we do find support off the bottom of the wedge like we seemingly have, there's a fair chance that we'll come up to test the top of the wedge again. So that means that Doge could come up and get beyond these previous highs here before perhaps another leg down. So that would put Doge at basically 11.5 cents. If we were gunned toward it like all at one go, like today perhaps, maybe it won't get as high, maybe 11.4, at the best. So that's just my kind of like interpretation of what's going on here with the structure. We've certainly, you can see it's got the hallmarks of an uptrend. It's got higher lows, all the way up, yeah? And then higher highs climbing as well. And just, yeah, this is a point where we have to pull in another high to continue the trend. Otherwise, we're looking at a reversal, a head and shoulders essentially. So that is, a real threat to the price right now. Is this? It does almost look like we're dealing with a potential head and shoulders. So yeah, keep your eye on that move. It really has to come up and make a new high to invalidate that potential head and shoulders reversal there. So, and remember, this is only a short time frame. This is on the 1 hour chart, and we're only looking at the recent move in the last few days here. As far as the daily is concerned for Dogecoin, let's see. Yeah, it's been very, it's hard to sort of pick the structure, but, we've come off a low, like seemingly an accumulation level. They did this huge move off the back of that Twitter news with Elon Musk, pulled in a high of almost 16 cents, and now we almost fully retraced that move. It came very deep back down. But, we found support at 7 cents. So that's cool. And we have since broken back above 9. And now we're going to see if 10 can hold us, moving forward. But I don't know. I'd like to think that there is a bit more movement ahead. There's a bit more potential there to move higher. On the daily, you can see that the RSI, there's no divergences going on the top side, I don't believe. Like, all the highs seem pretty natural and confluent. The bottom side, I don't think there's many examples of bullish divergence either. It all seems fairly straightforward. I mean, these lows obviously were lower than these lows. However, on the RSI, these lows were on par, if not higher, than the recent lows. So that perhaps is some kind of bullish divergence there, like hidden bullish divergence. So higher lows on price, lower lows on RSI. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's what's playing out this move up that we have, and that's already sort of like we're getting the result of that divergence. But yeah, I mean, just because we had this rising wedge and we dropped out of it, it does not mean that it's a guarantee that we're going to drop out of this wedge too. Like, these aren't, no pattern, no theory, no anything in technical analysis is a guarantee. You're only playing with chance, or I should say, like, likelihood. What is the likelihood that something's going to play out? So, and that's the best we can do. We can't get exact answers for what's going to happen in price, especially when there's like, things like news events, black swan events, fundamental changes to the projects, or even like tweets. In this case with Doge, like a tweet can affect the trend heavily. Like, so yeah, that's where we stand. That's where we stand at the moment on Doge. If we're looking at the really short-term time frames, like the 5-minute here, well, let's go to the 15-minute, and then we'll work our way down to this more scalp type time frames. We've recently popped above the 200, and we're seemingly finding support on the 15-minute chart, like using these EMAs as like some kind of support structure. So maybe that's a hint at what's to come. Like, maybe we do come back up and test the top of the pennant. We go down to the 5-minute chart. It's a similar story, but you've got more resolution on what's happening. So I guess the thing that's going to break that forecast there, or that outlook, is if we break back below the 200 EMA on these smaller time frames. Convincingly, if we get a lot of activity, lower lows, lower highs below the 200 EMA, then you know that the trend has changed. So let me catch up with some more comments here. Maybe Bitcoin has a weak upcoming bull market, but also weak bear market afterward, less volatility. That's yes. So rather than call, this is semantics, but rather calling it bull and bear market, you could call it a trend. Like maybe we have a bull trend on the horizon, like some kind of relief rally, especially coming into the CPI figures coming out in less than a couple of weeks, and also the funds rate, the next federal funds rate announcement. Those could be catalysts for a move, like a pretty decent move and a return to volatility. Hopefully, it's been the case in the last few FOMC meetings and CPI releases. DXY has similar pattern, but seems it may do the opposite. Yeah. Right. So, there has been that effect where the DXY is inversely related to Bitcoin. Like we've seen that, like it's like a mirror image. You get an uptrend on the DXY, you get a downtrend on the risk on assets like Bitcoin and the S&P, that kind of thing. And then the opposite is true. When you get a downtrend on the DXY, you get an uptrend on Bitcoin and other like equity markets. So it is interesting, the relationship that it's had. And yeah, Clive's right there, Bink. That's because an upward move on the DXY has a dampening effect on markets such as legacy, which in turn affect crypto. Yeah, 100%. I second that. Stock market's average bull market lasts 3.8 years and beat markets last 9 months on average, kind of similar to crypto. Beat markets? I'm guessing that may be a typo. You look at SHIB, looks like it has room to run. Yeah, I'll open up the Shiba chart. I haven't looked at Shiba in a while. Let's check it out. Okay. So Shiba was certainly like stuck in this range for quite some time. It saw a bit of action outside the range in August, like a lot of the alts did, including Bitcoin. Not that Bitcoin's an altcoin. But yeah, there seems to be like, just based on that wick that we first sort of pulled in, that low, that seems to be the bottom, the extreme bottom. There was this action outside of that, but we seemingly came back up and found support. So I think there's a few like tests of that range there, at least 3 decent pivots off that low there. And then, the first bounce came up to this height here. And potentially the high. Let me just rewind a bit here. I'm just trying to see what would represent this range the best. Perhaps here more. And that is 1400 Shibatoshis, for lack of a better term. So if we dial that into 1400, and then this low side, what's this reading? 918. Maybe it's 920, just to give it a round number, Maybe it's more like that, but either way, it does look like the recent price action, Shiba has been fighting to get back up into that box. This blue line here is the 1000 mark, so it's a big round number, right? That blue, I think that's going to be a pivotal moment when Shiba can get back up on top of that blue, back up on top of 1000, But for now, yeah, I feel like, especially over the last 2 days being the weekend, it's basically just squeezing up, and the volatility is really like winding down. So yeah, there may be an explosive move on the horizon because of that. So keep your eye on that. It does kind of look like it's in a rising wedge though, so be careful. Something like this. Which could cause a drop. But I don't know, you could argue, I can see the argument that it kind of does look like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has done this too, where it's done like an inverse head and shoulders, which is a reversal type pattern. And right now, Shiba seems to be knocking on the door of the neckline for that inverse head and shoulders. So yeah, potential for a bullish move off that. That's a reversal structure. This is like, yeah, I guess it's kind of anomalous. I mean, if you could include that as part of the neck, as part of the left shoulder, if you really wanted to, like maybe you could class that as the left shoulder, and then you could either incorporate that action in there as well. So maybe it's something like this. I don't know. It just depends how you cut it, but at least this part here is a very clean head structure. Not to mention this, like you can see one here too, which has already played out. That was a smaller head and shoulders within, this larger market structure. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I think obviously a lot is riding on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes bullish, it kind of green lights the rest of the altcoins. But yeah, it does look interesting. It looks like it's waiting on the sidelines just for, that green light. As is Doge. Doge is, it's a similar thing. Coming out of the weekend, there's usually not a whole lot to talk about over the weekend. It gets very choppy and boring. Bitcoin, consolidating in a wedge is like I guess that's a kind of like a typical thing to happen over the weekend, right? And then you get the pop out as the markets kick off again. So we've still got about 12 hours or so before the Nasdaq opens and the S&P, right? Clive's mentioned the futures here. US futures are relatively flat, not a huge movement in the Forex market. Yeah. So things are still, indecisive right now. I'm sure there's a lot of dojis happening on the dollar index. Yeah, there's plenty of them here. Yeah, there's a lot of indecision going on. Everything's kind of flat and choppy. But yeah, I'm just gonna go back and check that calendar. And I'll turn this brightness off so that we don't blind you guys. And I know that everyone likes to read it in New York time, so I'll change that. Eastern time. And we'll just check what we've got coming up in the calendar. So right now in New York, it is 7:32 p.m. Eastern, Sunday afternoon. Sunday evening rather. So we're here. There was apparently an OPEC meeting all day today. Now Monday, what have we got? Something red, something of high impact apparently. Got this PMI, ISM Services PMI. Now PMI being the Purchasing Managers Index. I'm not going to pretend like I know what that is, but all of it's written here for you. If you want to check out this website, it's called Forex Factory. Let me just type that in here. forexfactory.com. Give you the hyperlink so you can just click it so you can check it out for yourselves. Is that working? No, it's not. Okay. Anyway, Um, I'm just going to see if this is going to work too. This is the link to the Discord channel, the free Discord that I have, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of. Pin that to the top. So we've got a few more people have rocked up here. We've got 31 people. That's cool. Peak have we had today? 36. That's cool. Remember to smash the like button if you haven't already. We'll see if we can attract some more people in. I didn't really go to the effort today of like making a custom thumbnail for the video, but kind of a bit time poor today, so I ran out of time. But yeah, back to the calendar. Let's see what we've got on for this week. So I think this week it's kind of quiet until we hit Friday. So Friday morning we've got the PPI, which is the Producer Price Index, I believe. Now this is a change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers, excluding food and energy. So, you know, that could be pivotal. That could be a catalyst for some kind of movement in the markets, the PPI. But it's the following week that I think has the most magic. We've got CPI on Tuesday the 13th, and that's Tuesday morning before the market opens, right? So interesting. We're going to get that. So I guess, you know, in that regard, the information of what CPI comes in at is going to affect, you know, you're going to see the effect on crypto first. Obviously, I guess at this stage, futures will be open. So the futures market. Speaking of, I'll check the S&P 500 futures, the US 500 here, because that's getting movement. And so we'll start zoomed out. There's the all-time high for the S&P. We've come down. We're currently testing the top of that that resistance, the top of this this move here. We have, you know, run into resistance. It hasn't gone beyond it just yet. And you know, the scary thing is we're inside of a rising wedge, so that is a textbook bearish kind of pattern. But yeah, perhaps we'll chop around in here, like in this little pocket, until that CPI release, right? You know, maybe we could be looking at the this PPI data doing something to the S&P price. But remember, you know, the S&P 500, this is an index. It's the performance of 500 assets, underlying assets, like on the in the stock market. So it's a fair average. Like it's a good index to look at to see the overall, like, you know, the high level view of what's going on in the stock market. And then, you know, your NASDAQ is a bit more concentrated on 100, and it's supposedly tech heavy. So you've got things like Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Apple, Google, like that kind of thing, right? So those tech companies, you know, pulling in the most sort of movement for that index. And then, you know, the 30 being the Dow Jones, which is, it's you know, trending a lot differently to the S&P, which has been interesting to see. Let me bring up the Dow Jones, see how that's been going. So yeah, we pulled in a high back in August, just like a lot of the other markets did, and you know, the Dow Jones has actually punched through that, and you know, we could still get some kind of rejection off here. It was in a rising wedge which did drop, but it found support and it's moved. You know, it's early days. Like we're only like a couple of days out of this trend here, and we've only just recently tested this line of resistance from back in August, right? But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds over the next couple of weeks, to see whether we continue up or we get, you know, a heavy rejection here. But the NASDAQ, I think the NASDAQ is looking a lot more similar to the S&P 500. I've got no analysis on the NASDAQ here, except for that line down there. So let me bring in a trend line here. You know, do I draw it here to touch this pivot, or do I take it across to this pivot here and show that we're still underneath? You know, it's a little bit more subjective. But, you know, if you're strictly taking these two pivots, you know, if you're objectively taking these two pivots, you know, we had a bit of a fake out here. And then, you know, went back under and hit it as resistance 2 times. There's a little bit of wick activity there, but, you know, this seems to be the most reasonable place for a trend line to go in on the NASDAQ. Because, you know, there's a lot of examples of resistance off that line. So here, and there's a lot of action here, bouncing off it. A bit of a fake out here, and then recently bust through it fairly strong. So we'll see if we can maintain that trend there on the NASDAQ. BTC breaking out here. Thanks, Clive, for letting me know. What I might do, I'm going to jump into my Discord channel here, and feel free to hop in if you want and say hello or ask a question. Do whatever you like, you know. You're welcome. You're welcome in. It's free to join. But yeah, this Discord channel, it's I think you're gonna see it at least in the next bull market. You know, it's gonna be buzzing again. That's the goal anyway. So I know it's been quiet, especially off the back of last bull market. You know, like as we've gone through this bear market, I haven't been as active in there. So yeah, it's certainly dropped off a lot. If you are interested in a community though, you know, that is active and there's a lot of people in there having conversations quite often, check out B Crypto Live. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already aware of that channel. You know, a lot of us would be the OGs from that community, all 25 of us here. But yeah, he's got also a YouTube channel as well, so he streams pretty much 24/7. But yeah, check this out. We are almost we're 0.75% up so far. I think this would definitely, this is the next line in the sand for me, for everyone, I think. You know, we've got this, let me change the color here. You know, that $17,324 is what I've got as the next pivot point to beat. I think right now we're dealing with these highs here, which is obviously the 17,243, 240 roughly. So that zone, you know, we are moving beyond that. I bet you, like, it kind of feels like, without even looking at it, I bet you that the DXY is probably pulling back right now. Let me just have a quick sneak peek at the DXY. Yeah, I mean, it's not looking bullish anyway. Yeah, so if we go down to the 5-minute, yeah, it's not doing great. It's certainly still correcting. It hasn't pulled in a new low just yet. There was a lower point back on Friday last week. So I'm going to make that a purple line here, and we'll keep our eye on it. That was the previous one that I was tracking, which we since broke down below. So I might delete that actually, or change its color. Let's change it to like a light blue as a resistance line, and these purple ones we'll call supports. Yeah. All right. I guess that's the support to break if we're going to continue to go down on the dollar index. But yeah, all eyes on Bitcoin right now, right? We're gunning for that high, 17,324. Currently at 17,255 and climbing. Might have to follow this on the 1 minute because it's moving. Like, you know, it's really moving right now. So just to see the action coming off it. Now, remember, it's important to try to be calm and level-headed as you can. Stay critical and don't get carried away by movement. Like, I'm certainly guilty of it. Like, you know, it's very easy to get caught up in the volatility, you know. So don't let it fool you. Always have if you're entering a trade, you know, you need to take time to analyze where you're getting in, and you need to know where you're going to get out if it doesn't turn, if it turns the wrong way. And I'm certainly guilty of not having a way out, and I've been caught out. So it's certainly a skill I'm trying to strengthen and kick the habit of FOMO. And yeah, it's a skill we all have to master, I suppose. But yeah, I guess for me that's been my story. Like I've I guess it's like an easier thing to dive into and learn is technical analysis, but actually putting the analysis to practice and putting money behind that analysis is another story. We're fighting our emotions all the time. Emotions are a powerful thing, and it tends to overpower logic and reason a lot of the time. You actually have to put in a concerted effort to make logic, the principal, I guess, feature of your thinking. It takes discipline, and it's something you have to work at. So yeah, I'm no gun when it comes to trading yet. So, and that's a big reason why I don't give out signals, right? Because I don't know the answers. Like I'm far from it. Like I've only been involved in crypto for like a couple of years. So what am I going to know as far as making calls is concerned? And having said that, there's people that have been in trading and markets a lot longer than I have, and they still don't know direction and where to get in and get out, or where we're headed, for that matter. So I guess the best we can do is like develop strategy. It's not about predicting where things are going to go. That's not how you make money. It's about the strategy you apply and the risk management that you employ. So yeah, that's where I'm at in a nutshell. So, I mean, I think everyone can get on board and agree that seeing a move like this spells danger. Do not get into long positions like off a move like this. You want to wait for support, for evidence of support before getting in, because getting in off a move like this, you're paying a premium. These are high prices, right? Especially comparative to where we came from. This is all good value, right? That's fair value. This is premium, and now we're pulling back to a discount. So you want to enter off a discount if you can help it, right? So yeah, I guess you just got to keep it real. You got to let the emotions take the back seat, and you've got to think about it logically. A good trade takes time. A good entry takes time and analysis. If you find that you're rushing to your computer to jump into something, 9 times out of 10 or more, it's a bad move. Like if you're doing it because that's emotion driven. You'll feel like you have to rush and get in before you miss out. The FOMO, right? FOMO. So, and the same is like, I guess, true. Fear can cloud your judgment too. Just so greed and fear, they're these two strong polarizing emotions that can affect your decision making. So there you go. That's my little pep talk. And it's advice that I know logically, right? But I don't always practice that advice. Like, so I have to align that. I have to I'm still working on myself as a trader, overcoming those emotions of greed and fear, right? Fear and greed. But hey, we're all here learning together. So me included. I'm not a master by any means, but yeah, that's just the reality of it all. Please unsubscribe from me if I ever put out thumbnails where I'm doing this. Like, don't. Yeah, I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to shill anything. I don't want to be like, oh, next coin to 100x. Like, yeah, I don't want to do that either. I want to keep it kind of level-headed and real. Even if that costs me missing out on a lot of traffic, and yeah, I think that's a lot more trustworthy way to go. But yeah, anyway, having said all that, I feel like I'm kind of rambling. I think right now it's probably best to just watch the charts and see where this price, where Bitcoin's going to pull up, and what kind of levels we're going to break, and play it as it comes. Let the chart do the talking. Catch up on some of these comments here. Thanks, Frank. That's a very kind comment. You are humble and supportive. That's why we come back. Appreciate it, dude. And I feed off the support you guys provide too. So it works both ways. And I certainly have a lot of appreciation for everyone involved in our community that we have. Even though we are splintered, we stretch across a few different channels, but I think we all come from the same place, and we're all trying to get to the same destination. We're all trying to make money and become better traders or investors. A couple of people have hopped into the Discord. Feel free to say good day if you want. Don't be shy. Let me unmute myself in here.
Hello, I think you're muted on Discord.
G'day, how you doing, Jack?
Good, I thought I'd finally come in.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, it's good to have people that are, I mean, you're new to this, like to seeing crypto down under, are you? Like you haven't, or have you come across it in the past, like last year?
I started watching you very early. I think not very early, around Elon hype, around SNL.
Oh, SNL, yeah.
But I was only spot trading then, and
yeah,
I take my time.
Yeah, that's the I think that's where the bulk of us sort of came in and met each other anyway. Like, so yeah, you're basically an OG then.
I've got my roots in stock trading.
Oh, stocks.
Not in crypto, but I just enjoyed the community, I guess.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, it's like, I don't know. I don't think anyone's I'm trying to pick out people that are probably the best performing, because they tend to be like the quietest in the group. Like they don't really show their hand too much. But there's some like, yeah, there's some people that go under the radar a bit, but they do really well. Like probably better than me. Yet here I am, the one that's built a channel and trying to teach people things. But yeah, anyway. So you're in Australia too, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I'm in Adelaide.
Adelaide,
it's a part of the process.
Yeah.
I have an economics background.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right.
Just like listening to everyone's opinions on like how macro they're going to affect it seems to be crypto just does complete opposite to whatever everyone wants to.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think that's how these market makers are making their money. Really, like they're playing against everybody, like the retail. I guess there's a lot of uneducated, like unsophisticated accounts out there, like lots of quote unquote dumb money, and it's theirs for the taking. I guess the smart money comes in and takes advantage of it, and that's markets in a nutshell, right? It's whoever's willing to buy expensive asset, more power to them. More power to the people that bought it at a better place to sell it there. Yeah, but yeah, that's cool, man. Economics background. We need some
Yeah,
more educated people like that in
we're
the
definitely
space.
in the first kind of proper
Mm.
recessionary period for crypto, and it's
Yeah.
it's interesting seeing people's justifications for why things happen, and I think it's mainly a lot of it's out of our control, is what it is.
Yes. Oh, totally. We pretty much just have to follow what's happening geopolitically and global economically.
Don't
There's
matter.
so
Like I
many.
have formal education and everything, but I still suck at crypto.
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's I don't know. Some people claim it's easy, but it's definitely not. I find it difficult. It's tricky to be a good trader. I think it'd take a lot of practice and developing of skills. And that's the trading thing. It's so much harder. Technical analysis is a lot easier. I find like it's easy to throw up a chart and analyze what's going to happen. But yeah, the trading is the trick.
Yeah. No, I'm very new to TA. I'm kind of just watching it all. I normally I've made my money in recently in lithium, and it's a lot easier to read
Ah,
reports than read TA, in my opinion.
yes. So you're like more of like a fundamental,
Yeah,
like based investor or trader. Yeah,
yeah. There's a
that's
lot of
cool.
lithium in Australia. I don't know what America is
Yes.
doing at the moment, but there's a lot of specky lithium miners, which are good to get into.
Yeah. 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 I'd imagine like with all the electric vehicles taking off and like the need for lithium to yes to make the batteries that go with it. Yeah, I'd imagine that would be like a pretty booming sector. So in being an Australian, like if I was to trade the stock market, what platforms are available for Aussies? Like that's
There's
what I
Self
want to know.
Wealth, but that's probably got the highest brokerage fee.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yeah.
oh, not the highest. Comsec has probably the highest brokerage fee.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
good platform.
Yeah,
Self Wealth is pretty good.
oh, yeah. I'm with Commonwealth Bank. So ComSec is the trading arm of that, right? Like
Yeah,
all the
yeah, it's
they
20 bucks
offer.
a trade or something. It's pretty
Oh, wow.
intense.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, definitely
Um,
wouldn't want to be like day trading.
no, I think
Yeah.
Stake is pretty good, but I don't know how much I trust the company. But it's all ASICs, so we get all your piece of paper. It's not like crypto.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Stake's pretty cheap if you can refer a couple of people in. It's only like $1 a trade or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Is that like $1 no matter what volume you're trading?
Yeah, I
Or is
believe
it?
so.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's all right. I guess with ComSec, you'd want to be like either like swing trading to get the most out of your $20 each
Yeah,
time
yeah.
you open a trade. Like you wouldn't want to be going in and out too often. It'd be
No,
pretty
I think
expensive.
I very much follow the kind of like fundamental kind of Benjamin Graham, Warren Buffett style. You just hold for 10 years kind of thing.
Yeah, investing. Yeah, it seems to be. It takes all the guesswork out of it anyway. Like there's so much guesswork when the smaller time frame you trade, the more like chance for mistakes there are, or like getting it wrong. There's less margin for error. Like the smaller time frame you go down. but it's fast money, I guess. Like that's the attraction to it, because you get results, there and then. Whereas with investing, you got to be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clive's saying in the chat, you pay 1 penny? What the hell? Man, our brokerage fees suck in Australia.
Oh yeah, yeah. So does ComSec give you exposure to pretty much any market? Like,
I believe so.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
ComSec and Stake and Self-Wealth will give you exposure to the US, from
Yeah.
my understanding.
Yeah.
But there's some extra fee we have to pay because trading US markets, well, everyone wants to take their bite.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking of getting into at some stage, like having a go at the stock market. I don't know, like what the ASX is like. I feel like it draws a fair bit of sentiment from the US markets anyway, right?
Yeah, yes and no, yeah, definitely. I think if you want another degenerate kind of community, ASX_bets on Reddit is fairly
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
place to start.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, Aussie traders. There's a couple of Aussies involved in crypto that run like communities and groups and newsletters, that kind of thing. I think Facebook has a couple of groups even. But there's Trader Cobb. Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Okay, he's an Aussie guy. There's another guy in Australia who's more about like fundamental analysis, but I think his focus recently has been on real estate, which is total, change for him. Nuggets News, I think is the name of his channel. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, no, I follow Nuggets.
Yeah, I think his name's Alex. Yeah. And he's a pretty level-headed dude. He seems pretty educated and well-read on everything. He's got a video about the Litecoin halving, 4-year super cycle, Litecoin halving update. That was 10 days ago. Yeah. His recent video is Australian housing market and economy update. It's like a 46-minute video posted 4 days ago. But yeah, he's certainly like done a few videos in the past where he's been way off with what his forecast or outlook was. So even people like him, the supposedly like, read up and clued into what is happening, can totally get it wrong as well. Because there's so many variables out there that can affect markets, like curveballs,
If anyone says they're a master in crypto, I kind of zone out.
Yeah, like it's just bullshit. It's just all, and it's all ego anyway. Like they're all just, they all want a pat on the back, like no one cares like what, about your supposed success. Like, unless you're telling me some information that's that I can use, then I'm not interested. Yeah, I guess like that's what YouTube's all about. There's a lot of moon boys, and recently like the trend is to be, all doom and gloom and hellfire. That seems to be like the sentiment out there. Everyone's ultra bearish.
It's all about the fear and greed cycle, right?
Yeah. So it makes
there are some people on the Discord. I'm not on the YouTube community. I do like D-Block stuff, and I like your stuff as well. You don't infer anything. You kind of just try and explain what's going on, and not everyone's right. I think I'd rather follow someone who kind of gets it right most of the time, but not all the time.
That's it. I mean, you have to be. I found the best way. You have to be humble to the market, otherwise the market will humble you, kind of thing. It'll make a fool out of you if you choose a path or if you choose a stance on something. If you keep taking that approach, it's going to embarrass you eventually because you're going to get it wrong many times. So, yeah, you do have to sort of take a back seat and let the market do the talking, I guess. Let the chart do the talking and just do your best at trying to analyze the direction and, yeah. Got to be Yeah, be humble. Sit down, be humble. Yeah, that's it. Torvazar says it's built to test you on a lot of levels. 100%, man.
I do very much enjoy. I've jumped on B's channel and I just sit there and listen to the arguments. I think that's probably one of the best parts of the
Oh,
communities.
yeah,
The
yeah, it is. It's good to have a good debate, you know. Sometimes they get out of hand, but and things get personal, you know. But yeah, the debate part of it is fun. Yeah. Looks like Clive took off. Good night, Clive. Have a good one, mate. Got Serrano in the chat. Cardano. He likes it when I say Cardano, so I like to give him a bit of that every now and then. Carano. Yeah. Cardano. Yeah, there was this guy in the first community that I ever got into. Was with Serrano was in there, so that's how I met him. But there was another guy in there called Red. He was this Canadian dude, and he was a funny guy. Like he used to watch the chart on the 1 minute, and as soon as there was a decent red candle on the 1 minute chart, he would scream out, "We're dumping!" And everyone would panic and realize, Red, you're on the 1 minute chart, aren't you? And he's like, yeah. And it was funny. It was hilarious. And so yeah, him and Serrano were always asking me to say Cardano because of the accent,
Cardano, mate.
Cardano, not Cardano, or whatever the fuck they say. Yeah. I try to give it back to him. I say Whopper. Get a Whopper, a Whopper from Burger King or Hungry Jack's, because they don't know what Hungry Jack's is.
Yeah, no, Hungry Jack's here.
Yeah.
What the hell Burger King is?
Yeah, Burger King with your Whopper. I don't know. Spending a lot of time in these discords with, the majority of people are American, right? Some of their accent rubs off on mine, so like I'll catch up with my mates or whatever, family, and they'll be like, why do you sound American? Like, why have you got this? Some of the words you're saying. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but it has, I don't know.
That's fair. But where I'm from, when I start sounding like an Aussie all of a sudden, they look at me like I'm a racist.
Really?
Why are you talking with an Aussie accent?
Yeah.
I hang out with Rick, mate.
I hang out with Rick, buddy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Americans, they freak out, the C word, right? It's extremely offensive. And there was once upon a time where it was extremely offensive in Australia too. Like the whole
vernacular now.
How you going, cunt? Yeah, that's a very recent thing. It's not, it hasn't been around and accepted in Australia for that long. Like it's probably maybe like a decade, maybe 15 years at best. Yeah. So I don't know.
You could replace it with an exclamation mark. It would technically be the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, as the culture has moved forward and or maybe backwards, but as it's evolved to where it is now. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, it's funny because I'm French Canadian, so no matter where I go, I have a weird accent,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Unless you're in Quebec, right?
Well, I've been speaking English so much that I don't even bother with it anymore. But on paper, it's the same as the one from France, which is where my family is.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right. Are they sort of, what part of France are they? Are they near Paris or that's the only
Yes, Normandy.
Oh, Normandy. Ah, right. North Coast, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the D-Day beach where the whole Normandy storm, he's 75 miles far from there. So it's
wow, that's really cool. Yeah, damn, I'd love to visit. I want to do like a massive Euro trip, you know, road trip
I would
around
suggest
Europe.
that you take one country at the time because there's so much to
See,
see,
yeah, I
to
bet.
taste, to learn, that if you do this thing where you go through Europe, you give yourself too little time to actually appreciate all the places properly. It's
Yeah.
worth taking 2 weeks in France and then 2 weeks in Portugal and then 2 weeks in Greece, and like you just like that is a way to live.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Backpacking or something. Or maybe a bit more. Maybe when I get crypto rich, I'll travel the world. I'd love to do America too. Like, you know, road tripping.
Right.
Route 66, right? Or route, however you guys say it in America. We say
It's a
route.
highway, whatever.
Yeah, we say route, you say route, I'm pretty sure.
I just say road.
Road, yeah. Hey, typical Rick, typical crypto down under. I've got Google Maps up, Google Earth. I might go split screen so people can keep their eye on the price and everything. But yeah. So you were saying the beaches of Normandy. Let me have a look.
Well, there's this thing you might be interested in. It's like a super old traveling map that exists. It was for pilgrims who wanted to go to Rome or wherever it was at the time. It's called the Route of Santiago de Compostela.
Whoa.
And they're walking paths that allow you to trek across a big part of Europe.
Wow.
If you wear the symbol of the pilgrims, which I believe is a shell, you identify yourself as a pilgrim. While there are churches on the way that will give you dry spots to spend the night, where you can be in their basements to be dry and just have places to sleep. That would be offered as part of the whole pilgrimage. Because you're crazy enough to walk this, we're gonna give you a hand.
Wow. Oh wow! Look at this thing. That's cool.
It's huge and it's ancient. Some of it goes through cities now, surprisingly enough.
Can you see this on my stream at all?
Okay.
There's like this park in the middle of a beach. That's really cool. I'm gonna go street view and see if I can see into it.
The food, like it's all beautiful. The history, everything, blah blah blah. All of it is great. The food.
Yeah, damn the food. That's cool, man. What does sortie mean? S-O-R-T-I-E.
It depends, because when we're reading French, it could actually be the name of a place.
Oh. So which is the actual beach of D-Day? I'm gonna look that up and then I'll see if I can...
They call it Omaha Beach.
Oh, Omaha, that's right.
I can't remember what it's called over there. What I do know is that I visited it because I lived in Normandy for a couple of years as a child. So I did go to school, and that's just part of history in school. So we visited the sites. I went to the War Museum. We visited the beach, you know, all that stuff.
It's north of Caen, C-A-E-N, or Caen, or Caen.
Oh, Caen. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Caen.
But that's exactly how you say Caen. So
yeah.
There you go, Caen. If you go into Caen, that's what you could say.
Because I would like to pronounce the name of the village of my dad where he lived, because I mean, you guys would never be able to find it, even if you could understand what I was going to say. But that's the problem, you won't.
Oh, I see. It's all the way up here. Okay.
It was the shortest channel between England and them, right? Because they had to launch all of those boats and those soldiers from the English Channel. And that was it. And surprisingly enough, the north coast of France only has 2 or 3 beaches with sand. Most of the beaches over there have rocks, which makes it impossible.
All right.
Have you ever been to a rock beach before? It's not that fun.
Yeah. It looks like, you know, those British beaches. Here we go, Omaha Beach. This is it. Yeah, what's that? There must be like some kind of memorial around here somewhere.
Oh, there are parts of the beach you're not even allowed to go on because they haven't found all the explosives in it yet.
Oh, right. Jeez.
There was a lot of places where they were like, okay, listen, guys, it's dangerous. Just don't go there. We'll deal with it eventually.
Yeah. Wow. These look like something significant, whatever those are. I'm just trying to drop it into Street View. Here we go.
And that's the thing, because the war is like history and it's super important, but it's not even like the most important part about France per se. It's just
Yeah.
the latest really big thing that happened to it. But when you look into the history of it, you realize there's no small village where you go there where there's not like a super ancient Gothic church and with
Yeah.
like 100,000 gargoyles around them and like hidden messages and everything. There's
Yeah.
58 people in this village. Okay,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
they have that next to a bunker from the Second World War where there's bullet holes and wounds and everything.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
next to that there's a castle because the kids of the owner still live in it, but they only live in one room because they can't heat the whole place anymore. You know, it's everywhere. And the food.
The food, yeah, it always comes back to the food, man. I'm a foodie myself. Speaking of, I need to go on a diet. I've put on so much weight lately.
Food, bro.
Yeah, food. What's up, Serrano? Cardano?
God.
Oh my god. Yeah, maybe this chart's better to watch the activity for Bitcoin on. So it's a bit shorter. Okay. So yeah, this does look like, I mean, I guess the section of the beach, because I'm thinking back to how they represented it in Saving Private Ryan. You know, the opening scenes where they land on the beach. And
Oh
there's,
yeah,
like,
pretty accurate to what I was taught though.
yeah, like the pillboxes up on the hill, and they're shooting down into the beach. Damn, that would have
Turns
been
out
nuts.
bad guy's general actually had thought that could happen, so he built up the best defense he could. The fact that we won this is still not totally super understood to this day. It was the worst tactic ever.
Yeah, like it's just, yeah, landing on a beach and getting machine gunned, like holy shit.
They had numbers, so they kept throwing people at it until they made it. That's literally it. They exhausted the bullets on the soldiers.
It's crazy. Is there any like photographs from that event? Like, did anyone like? Was there any like war documents? Let me see.
There's plenty of it, but I mean,
Beach.
some of the best ones are in French, so I don't know if maybe the internet will make it easier for you to find. But yeah, language barrier makes it difficult for English speaking to find those things.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel called World War II, and they release a video every week. They're currently doing chronological order of World War II. I think they're up to like the end of 1943 at the moment.
Wow.
Been following it since World War II started. It's really cool to kind of see it kind of slowly
The
every
history
week.
of the war is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's bloody, you know, it's tragic and everything, of course, but
Of course, but when you look at
it's
like the
important to know the
espionage
history
and all of that,
Yeah. To recognize what happened, I suppose, is important.
lest we forget.
Yeah. Lest we forget.
I never seen the war, but I was told in school, and I spoke to survivors. I visited an old concentration camp, right? That was that became a museum because one of the survivors decided to make that happen, and that's the whole idea. Where they're slowly traumatizing a generation of kids like me to make sure that we would be instilled a fear of war, so I would never support it because I believe that's the best way to avoid it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
There's no war in America. There hasn't been, like small ones, but never anything that magnitude. Everything in France will remind you that not too long ago, the enemy took this place for a while.
Right, yeah. I feel like I need to educate myself on what happened with you know, all the civil wars in America, because that's fascinating, that whole topic too. History is amazing.
Well, a lot less history in America.
Yeah, compared to with Europe.
Country,
yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, and Australia is even younger than that. I think we've only been around since the late 1700s, or not even, maybe the early 1800s. I don't know.
I've
I think it
been
was
catching up on your
1788.
history.
Yeah, 1788, I'm pretty sure, is when the first fleet arrived in Australia. You know,
We've only been a country since 901, though. 1901, sorry.
yeah, that was Federation. So that's when all of the colonies of Australia agreed to, like, you know, call the whole place Australia, I suppose.
Because I was reading on John Batman.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So apparently this guy, the Batman Treaty, actually,
He's,
is how I ended
he was
up
our
on
first
that.
prime minister.
Yeah,
Mr.
didn't he
Prime
create
Minister.
Melbourne?
Oh, Prime
The
Minister,
internet
yeah.
says you guys were discovered in 1606 by the Dutch explorer
Oh, yeah,
William Jannezoon.
Well, yeah, we used to be called New
land
Holland.
of the west side of Cape
Yeah.
York Peninsula.
Yeah, yeah, we used to be called, like, New Holland or something like that.
New Holland, yes, before 1788.
Because Melbourne used to be called Batmania.
Yeah, I know that the land below Australia, Tasmania, named after Abel Tasman, I think he may have circumnavigated or, like, done, you know, sort of perimeter, like, exploration, coastal exploration of Australia, whereas I think Captain Cook actually set foot on and set up, you know, colony. First landing spot being in Botany Bay in Sydney. Through here. So, you know, 200 and so years ago, the ships came through this bay here. And land, you know, invaded, basically. It's an invasion. Very touchy subject, I guess, for a lot of people.
Well, it's history, and
It's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. In Europe, everyone knows their history, so everyone is very adamant about what happened, and everyone kind of agrees.
Yeah. Like, what's that sort of that understanding that the history books are written by the victor. You know.
I'm not entirely sure about that because, in a way, unless you're doing something extreme like genocide, there will always be people left after the war, right?
Right.
So everyone keeps
refute.
writing the books.
Hmm.
I don't know. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about that. I'm like, unless you kill everyone, like,
Right.
only dead men tell no tales type thing. So the
Right.
pirate is gonna go out and tell the story. I'm pretty sure, even if there's
That's
just one
it.
person left.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they just become conspiracy theorists. Don't forget,
Right.
they had massive.
We used to be
book
called
burnings.
gypsies.
The gypsies.
Alternative history.
Why do you think they're after us so bad? It's like we remember stuff that people forgot because they put it in writing, and we've had oral distillation of everything. So we're like, yep, yeah, we know what's up.
Ooh, the Dream Park in Egypt. I wonder what that's all about. Oh wow, it's a theme park in the middle of Egypt. That's crazy. How cool.
How does one decide what the middle of Egypt is?
The what of Egypt?
The middle.
The middle of Egypt. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
I'm like, it's all desert, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't know, man. But the Nile, dang. Where's the Giza Plateau? It's like outside of Cairo, right? Oh, Pyramid Gardens. Oh, here we go. Necropolis.
Not gonna lie, Africa's map is something that I'm still really bad at.
I play a lot of GeoGuessr, and it's helped me tremendously figure out where everything is.
I'm pretty good in Europe or in America, north and south, but yeah, the moment I hit up on that giant Africa, no idea.
It's cool to see that the pyramids are supposedly perfectly aligned north to south, east to west, like the edges. It's pretty incredible. Like how they figured that out, you know, perfect polarity, you know, all those thousands of years ago. It's incredible.
Aliens.
Alien, yeah. The Great Sphinx. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing place.
And then them lining up with constellations too, right? Like
Yeah.
they line up with Orion
Yep.
and Sirius, I think.
I mean, that's their version of TikTok back then, right?
Yeah.
Where's Easter Island? Because that's pretty fascinating
Other
too.
side. Keep
Yeah,
going,
it's
keep
like,
going, keep going.
is it like,
Keep going to your
isn't
right.
it the most isolated?
It's off this. Yeah, it's off here.
Yeah, it's the most isolated place on Earth, I think.
Well, that would be Point Nemo, I believe. It's the
Easter-
furthest point from land on the globe.
You're almost there. Keep going to your right.
Oh, it was that. Okay.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, you're right there.
Where do the big heads? Where are they at?
All over.
Stonehenge.
No, like those big
Easter
head
Island?
statues. Yeah, on Easter Island.
They have a name. What is it again? Let me look
I-
that up.
Oh, not Stonehenge.
Ahu Akahanga.
Yeah, that's the one. I would have never remembered it.
The ones that are like standing on the coastline, looking out into the ocean. They're cool. Just don't know where they are.
I was watching that they excavated something that looked like eyes that were other pieces of stone that were made from a different color that would make them look like they actually had open gazing eyes. So they
Right.
Well, yeah,
reconstructed that and it looked really creepy.
The Moai. Yeah.
But they
It'd be
figured out
interest-
how they moved them. That was neat.
Yeah, I know, right? Because they're huge. And they're complete. Like they're not pieces. They're not like, you know what I mean? They're a complete rock. And apparently the statue, like the stone where the statue came from, was from the other side of the island, so that they brought them across to this spot. If I'm remembering correctly.
It makes sense. Like you got
It's
different
like-
tribes, you're doing presents, you know?
Look at all this, all these hills and everything. Like these old. I'm guessing maybe these are old volcanic.
Yeah, there's a couple
spots.
volcanoes on here.
Yeah. Yeah, Easter Island's very mysterious. There's a pretty decent pimple right there.
And yet humans were living there.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting to know the exact like sort of century that they were making them statues in, and how that relates and compares to the ancient Egypt, you know? Like maybe this was earlier.
As of right
Where-
now, the internet says 1250 to 1500.
So master sailors going across the ocean just ended up there.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's the most isolated island in all of the Pacific
They would
Ocean.
have came from. They wouldn't have come from the right. They would have came from the left. Yeah, they would have island hopped out. So they would have come from like Micronesia, Indonesia, and then made their way out. Because they are poly
New
boys.
Zealand. Yeah, Polynesia.
So they would have came out this way. Bing bong.
Yeah, true that.
Ah, you can almost swim it, no problem.
But yeah, the Pacific
With
Ocean,
the right
damn,
conditions, you could.
that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water. That's just insane. What's this little
But
place?
with the right tide, or not tide, what is it? The right current?
Like conditions of the ocean, yeah, with no
Mm, so
storms.
with the-
Yeah, the right season and everything. I'm totally
Yeah.
sure. Like humans
If
made
you
it,
got
obviously.
into it.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of
You know, that's
loss
all
though.
Oh yeah, for
They just
sure.
keep
I mean,
attempting
even-
until it works.
Even if you think about even just crossing
Mm.
the Atlantic, how many boats
Oh,
were lost
yeah.
doing that?
Yeah, even
Well,
in
there's
modern
proof of
times,
human
right?
life on-
Titanic.
Mhm.
There's proof of human life on every single island on the globe that we've been to. So clearly, we've been really good at sailing for quite a while. Or we
Yeah.
lost a lot of
There's-
people for a long time.
Yeah.
or we lost the
drifting,
technology.
running
Like-
around in the water.
Yeah. Like, I like the sort of theory that civilizations prior that are completely, there's no trace of them, but they were a lot more capable and advanced than we give them credit for, kind of thing. You know, with perhaps traveling, like oceans, that kind of thing. It's pretty,
Oh, I
it's
can't
pretty
believe that.
fascinating. But
Because
apparently,
what we're doing when we're doing archaeology is that we're looking for us in the past. But if they
Hmm.
weren't us, they were doing something completely different, we wouldn't know where to look or what to look for.
yeah, that's it.
The other thing that makes it hard to like figure it all out is how was all the land connected and or situated at one point?
Yeah, Pangea.
You know, you got Pangea, and
And then the Ice
we definitely
Age.
had the land bridge in between
Yeah,
Russia and Australia, so there's that.
Ice bridges.
yeah,
Iceberg, yeah.
Russia
Where
and
was it?
Alaska. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where was it? Who was it? How was it? I mean, I don't think we can get perfectly accurate, but
it's
we
not a
definitely know
crazy
this one
gap.
was here.
Yeah,
It's
like you
funny,
can
isn't
see.
that like
And
that's
there's two
Russia and
islands in
America,
between.
right?
Yeah, the
there's also
Bering,
two islands in between there as well.
the Bering Strait.
You'd
Yeah,
expect them to have like military base there, but
It's very inhospitable, but there are people that live on those two islands.
look, there's
like
whales.
one side is America and the other one is Russia, and that's like the biggest. Like, why don't they fight from there? Like,
Inaccessible, maybe. It's just not. Oh wow, you can see
sounds like a them
across.
problem.
I watched this thing on like some Inuits, and like they're actually relatives on the American side and the Russia side.
Oh
And I
yeah.
guess they used to just boat back and forth to each other and go see each other and shit.
Hmm. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
More
the
on the
Japan
islands,
border.
though. More
on
on
the
islands
the
than
eastern part of Russia, they look very similar to far North Americans, like the natives, right? They all look
Yeah,
like
they-
they're the same people. Like
Yeah,
from
I've
this
watched-
area, what is that?
Mhm.
I guess like eastern Russia, northeastern Russia, and then like this area of Alaska. Yeah.
Like I was watching this thing and it literally saying like, oh yeah, those are our like family members over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
We used to hang out and have festivals and all this stuff, but now things are a little bit more separated. But they're like trying to bring it back to where they all come together and see each other and shit. Like I can't remember who. There's one of the guys that goes around on YouTube and does that kind of stuff. I can't remember his name right now though. But it's pretty
So
cool.
who owns the island in the middle, though?
I think one's American and one's Russian,
I know.
and or they're both undeclared.
Lavrentia.
Definitely populated by Inuits though.
Yeah.
Or no one, right? I'm
Yeah, I mean,
pretty
who
sure
who,
those-
who would want to be there? Maybe a
Right.
fishing camp, but the conditions must be horrid.
So these are the people apparently of Russia, like Far East Russia. So this is this area here that I'm sort of circling is like this culture, these people who do look closely related to like Native Alaskan, Native American, you know?
Yeah,
Very
and even in
interesting.
Europe, around those areas, they look exactly like that as well.
Hmm. Yeah, even like Mongolian people look similar to like similar features to Inuit. Yeah, I'm sure there's like many documentaries on the history and the similarities and everything, how they're basically the same culture.
Like the little Diomed is American and the big is Russian.
Oh, I see. The Diomed. Yep.
The
Still
Russians
a
got the big one, eh?
Still a
Yeah.
fairly big land mass, really.
No one lives there full time. But
There's an
Russia
aircraft.
has a
Crashed aircraft.
what's it called there? A weather station. Oh, this is just what the internet says.
No. There's a crashed Li-2 aircraft. I don't know who owns the Li-2, but it's a landmark on. Yeah. Oh wow, you can see it. That's wild.
Yeah, stuff stays there for a very long time. It's kind of like a freezer.
Yeah, it's like you can't go rescue that. It's like there's no point, just leave it there.
Didn't we find the frozen guy while we were checking the K2 the other day?
Yeah, yeah. So back in Nepal.
If you want to be immortalized.
Yeah, we figured out where Mount Everest was in relation to K2. And it's a totally different area. So there's Everest there. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, K2 is like way northwest from there.
Yeah, and K2 is like, let me get my bearings. I remember seeing it was like up on this, in this area here.
Higher. Yeah, right there, around there.
Like, yeah, around this area or something. Yeah.
So it's not an easy walk.
There it is. Bang. Straight. And it looks a lot more sharp of a peak. Like it's more vicious. It's kind of like a blow off top, whereas Everest looks like a whack off distribution.
I bet you can see the other one from the top.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a blow off top, most definitely. And then if you look at Everest, it looks a bit more like a whack off distribution.
Can you street view these things?
Can I what?
Street view them, like people have been
Street
up
view,
there, right?
Yeah, I think it's only like Google Earth view. Where's Everest? I was on it before. It's maybe over this way a bit more. It's not in Bhutan. Butane gas. There it is, Everest. Yeah, let's see this distribution. Yeah, it's definitely whack off, especially from this angle. Like that peak to that peak there. There's your 65k, then there's your 69k. That's all.
So you're saying it's bullish? No, it's bearish. Why cost bad?
Yeah, like I mean, so is a blow off top. I mean, that's the end of a bubble, a blow off top, basically. The thing with crypto though, it is a repeating bubble. Like so it blows up, like it expands and then bursts, and then you get the crash. But then it starts over again. Like it's like a bubble cycle. Lotsie, mate. Fourth highest mountain in the world at 8.5 kilometers high. Mount Everest is, I think, 9,000 meters. Oh, not quite. 8.8 Ks, so 29,000 feet. Where do you sky jump from? Is that 30,000 or 25,000?
Like jump out of airplanes?
Yeah. Like
Skydive?
Skydivers will go up 30,000 feet. I think.
10?
Oh, is it 10? Is
high,
it?
Man.
I think. I thought 10 was where you pull the cord, like for your parachute. Oh.
I mean, you can jump from 30, but that's a jet plane, so you have to.
Yeah, true. Oh, yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Like the cruising altitude of a jetliner is a 30k.
We went up.
Maybe.
When I did it, we went up to like 10,000.
Ah,
they
right.
cool about, I don't know, I want to say halfway down-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, so you jump out at 10, and you free fall or you free dive for like a minute to 2 minutes, and then they swoop.
And there's a critical point where you have to pull your chute. Otherwise, you know,
Oh yeah.
the altitude,
So when we-
you have to get
yes,
that right.
When I was doing it, we're sitting there getting ready to load up in the next plane to go up, right?
Yeah.
And this guy pulled his chute late, and he came in firing hot.
Ooh.
Firing hot.
Like really fast, yeah.
He lived, he was fine. But he came in so hot that he freaking like skid marked on the runway. He's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, he got up and walked away.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Damn.
My landing, we came in and like sailed in and landed.
Oh yeah, and you just a nice like soft touch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's definitely like not. It's 100% not that scary. If you think that some roller coasters are scary, then in my opinion, skydiving is not even as bad.
Yeah, I'd love to go skydiving. It's on my bucket list for sure.
If you can do a skydive like around where you grew up, I think that's really sick.
Oh yeah, so you can see it as you're coming down. You can see like all the landmarks. Yeah.
Well, you've always seen that point of view on the ground or like a high hill or a high mountain or something, but you've never seen it coming down.
Yeah, that's it. How's the numbers going in the YouTube stream there?
19 live.
Ooh,
104
nice.
minutes.
Yeah, there's still a few people watching there. It's cool. Yeah. I think there was once upon a time, maybe it still exists, but Google Moon, you could do this with the moon, basically. Like from all the photographs they took. Yeah.
I remember when you zoomed in too much, it was a picture of cheese.
Yeah, that's it. Ooh, the Holy Lands.
I think the actual crypto charts are going very slow, so this is a lot more interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've just pulled in. We're trying to pull in and retest that high of, what is it, 1268?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
damn. That's looking good. Yeah, we've really come out of that pennant bullish, haven't we? No doubt about it. This is
crypto stuff.
This yeah. This ain't no fake out, boys and girls.
Breakout.
Yeah, it's a good breakout. Yeah, there's evidence of like retest of support. So we came up here and settled, found support, and then bang, next leg up. It's good. We're gonna just look at before we
tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah.
The markets open.
Yeah. Jerusalem. Where's Bethlehem in relation to Jews? Oh, that's just right there. Look at that.
Bethlehem smack bang in the middle.
Yeah, Bethlehem. Holy Lands. Yeah, that temple in Jerusalem, that golden mound, that golden top temple's interesting. The Western Wall. Oh yeah, that's right. They got a wall around it. That's right. The dome, temple dome, dome of the rock. And it's gold. It's made of gold. That's right.
Must protect the rock.
Yeah. Temple
I didn't
Mount.
realize Dwayne Johnson was that popular.
Who's this?
You have no idea. There's pilgrimage.
Like
Are
in
you
a
looking
tunnel.
at Dome of the Rock? That's
Temple
Muslim.
Dome. Yeah. Well, depending how you see it, yeah, I guess it's well, Israeli, right? Israel. Jerusalem.
Yeah, but all religions are there. That's Muslims. It's pretty cool.
It's Muslim. It's like Judaism.
A lot of
I think after like thousands of
Christianity?
years of war there, they realize, peace is probably better.
Nah, we're still fighting the holy wars.
Yeah, it's
The
true.
Holy Wars,
That shit
yeah,
ain't never
that's
gonna-
it. Yeah. What's that really amazing place? It's It's Arab, and it's like this obelisk thing, and they all go around in a circle around it. Have you seen that?
That's
The
in
Mecca.
Mecca?
Mecca?
Mecca.
Yeah, that thing is.
Yeah, I just
That's
posted it in
amazing.
general.
Oh, you did, right?
Mecca.
Yeah, that thing. Damn. That's amazing.
This is one of my favorite posts of anyone ever going there, ever in history.
Ah. And what's the idea? Like you go around it, and do you touch it, or like what do you do? What's the idea behind it?
The idea of doing a procession with lines is just silly. So they just walk in circles and they slowly rotate everyone. So you start off from the outside and you're slowly putting yourself in as you are trancing around the sacred stone until you get to make yourself on the inner sanctum, in which you get to process your love to the stone.
And it's so popular because birthplace
Saudi.
of the Prophet Muhammad.
Right. Saudi Arabia.
Actually,
Big
if I'm
wars
not
over that place,
mistaken,
too.
I think it's because a rock fell from the sky there, and there's still a piece there. That's why this
Right.
precise spot.
Yeah,
is
I
important.
did. I do remember seeing a documentary about that. That there's like this asteroid rock, and they like think
Yeah, it's all about the stone.
holy and shit. Yeah,
That's cool.
it's really cool.
That's what they build a big rock around. It's like the golden stone that fell from the sky. I don't want to discredit anyone's religion, but like I believe that's why this construction is right there, and that's what the people are trying to touch.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just looking at the easiest. I'm just looking at what Google says initially. That's all.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure there's way cooler stuff. 100%.
I want to know what that stone is, man.
Yeah. There's documentaries on it. Here we go. I think this is the area. Yeah, there it is. So the KAABA Kaaba. Ooh, you can see the people around it. Damn. From a satellite image, you can see the people.
Yeah, if the sun is up, there's going to be people around.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Muslims in the world, especially over yonder.
Yeah, isn't it like the highest population religion? Something like that?
Remember, it was at 2 billion a while ago, so it's probably higher.
Out of context, this looks like Burning Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does.
Wow. They're all, they're all in this like really nice circle. Could you imagine if they could hear our like reaction to it? Like, oh, look at this really nice circle that they've got going on here, you know? Not
Well, I
making
mean,
light
I
of
hope
it,
you don't have to pee, buddy, because you ain't going anywhere right now.
Oh yeah, well shit, you'd want to be able to get out of there, yeah. Look at that little thing there. That little sort of, I don't know, like it's a little bird cage type thing, I don't know.
It's the only shade spot.
Whoa. See, you don't hear about this. Like, I had to look at some really, like, fringe documentaries to learn about this place. Because they don't really talk about it in Western culture, I suppose.
I grew up with the church, so I was promised at some point that I should have to go there myself, right?
Right,
So, but I knew of it only because of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Free juice. Is that free juice? They offer free juice.
Yeah. Or is it water? Not cold, it says. Haha, yes. Wow, look at that architecture. That's cool. Zam.
Zam.
Cool. Yeah, interesting spot. Do a bit of research on the Kaaba, or Kaaba, sometimes referred to as Al-Kaaba or Al-Musharafa, is a building at the center of Islam's most important, I'm guessing that was going to say. Most important mosque, the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Most sacred site in Islam, yeah.
Yeah, there's been some big fucking battles over that area. Once
the
Muhammad
Black
died
Stone,
and they split off following this prophet or that prophet. A lot of fucking bad shit happened over there.
yeah.
A lot of history.
A lot of history, yeah. Well, even before that as well, 'cause, like this is the ancient world, right?
Black
It's the
stone.
first world, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that black stone. Very mystical. The embedded black stone was a further symbol of this as a meteorite that had fallen from the sky and linked heaven and earth.
Hmm.
It's a 60-ton meteorite. Holy shit.
The
Largest
damage it must have
known.
done on the land when it landed must have been kind of interesting.
Yeah, the Hobart meteorite. I'll look that
It
up.
must have been seen, right? Like people, it must have made like quite an
Oh,
event.
yeah. There must have been like a huge trail behind it as it was coming toward Earth. I'm gonna find
Killed
out where this
thousands of
is. Oh, it's in
people.
Africa. The Hobart meteorite. They like built like a structure around it. If my thing will load. Oh, look at that. They're not even giving you like nice pictures of it.
Nobody goes there.
Insignificant. But damn, that is massive. Beware of falling meteorites. That's cool.
BTC's trying.
Yeah. BTC's doing its own meteorite action. But upwards, not downwards.
Now let's call it a comet then.
A comet, yeah. Comet coin. Now there's a coin idea.
Comet
Sure.
coin.
Sure, it's a thing.
Yeah, it probably is.
To the moon. No, wait.
Wow, yeah, look at those like faceted edges on the meteorite there. It's massive. I'm surprised it didn't like, or maybe it did cause a huge crater. It's just the way it looks now. Yeah.
Is that
Cool.
the origin story of Black Panther and Wakanda?
Oh,
I don't know. Is it?
Well, it started to sound like it.
Maybe.
Meteorite that fell from the
Meteorite.
sky. It's a
Yeah.
weird metal nobody knows about. Like,
Oh yeah, like the yeah. It could be. Could be the
I mean, the character is older
The
than
narrative?
the movie, so.
yeah.
And Wakanda was always something like that. So I'm like, oh, I wonder why they had that idea.
Wakanda forever.
It's all about the metal.
I'm a big fan of Avatar's unobtainium metal.
Oh yeah.
How do you get that?
Oops.
it's all under a big ass
Yes.
tree, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Man, look at that. Look how thick the jungle is here in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Congo like rainforest is like, yeah, lots of life in there. Gorillas and stuff. Now, I used to love watching gorilla documentaries as a kid and like orangutan and all that stuff. It's cool. But nothing tops the Amazon, man. The Amazon is freaking massive.
I like the stories of old explorers with poor means still trying to map it out with machetes and
Oh,
just
yeah.
like wanting to stop for tea at some point because they're always English for some reason. And they just get eaten
Always
alive
English.
by this thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Us bloody Anglo-Saxons, eh?
Well, it was like Britain at a time really had money for this kind of stuff. So when they're recreating those events, they're like, yeah, it was like a British lord of some sort. So.
Yeah. Wow, look at this river. Damn. That's very wiggly. It reminds me of those veins that old people have in their head, you know, like those.
Varicose veins?
Maybe, yeah.
All nature seems to repeat its patterns all over.
That's it, yeah. Wow. I guess like all of these veins of water, like these creeks and rivers and everything, it's that's why this area is so green, huh? But I suppose
certainly
it
helps.
depends which way it flows. It would flow out to sea, right? Because like I'm guessing all this is mountainous to a degree, not hugely mountainous, but enough to where the water flows downstream and out to sea, perhaps. It's very brown. Man, that would be scary, like going into that water knowing that there's like piranhas and anacondas and things like that. Very scary.
You got to make your peace with that at some point and just be ready for it.
Yeah, just get in there and have a go. Yeah.
Figure someone like you would know that.
Sort of ding ding. Hey Noodle, $2 super chat, my man. Tofu. I'd love some fried tofu right now. In a stir fry, along with a lot of beef.
My man.
Yeah,
Tofu
now
you get for $2.
now you're talking. Yeah. Nah, tofu's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't eat a whole lot
Rick,
of
you
it.
live in Brisbane, don't you?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
From
we've,
Sydney originally, though. I grew up in Sydney.
Oh, yeah.
Born and raised in Sydney. I moved up here when I was 16, and I'm 34 now. So I've spent longer in Brisbane than I have. I've spent more than half of my life up here, as of like 2 years ago. Yeah.
It's funny hearing Americans talk about all the dangerous animals we have. If you live in a city, you don't
I
really see
know.
that much.
Yeah, you don't see anything.
But I actually live in the desert up here, and there are
Oh.
snakes everywhere.
Oh,
Like,
right.
everywhere.
Yeah, jeez. You'd see
It's
like
it's
the
daily survival.
yeah. You'd see the browns, like
Yeah, everywhere.
brown snakes. They're
I
crazy.
went for a hike on the weekend with my partner, and we ran into 2 snakes. She's not a fan of them, but I find they're adorable.
Yeah,
I
they're
really
fascinating.
actually like rattlesnakes in America because they make like a shit ton of noise.
Yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, I saw a documentary on them, on rattlesnakes, and the tail, like you would think that there'd be these little bits inside like a hollow tail, but it's actually more like if you think of paper cups stacked together loosely,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
more like what the tail's like. So when they rattle it, it's like you hear it, they're all like shaking together kind of thing. Yeah, like plastic cups or paper cups stacked up. That's more of, the rattling effect comes from that.
I was just watching a venom farm that they have in Australia, where they will milk snakes for the sake of creating anti-poison and that type of stuff. And obviously the people working there are not really impressed by those creatures. They just handle them in ways that impresses me very much.
Yeah. Torvazar says the Transformers cube thing. What is it called? Is it called like the Tetra or the Tesseract? Not the Tesseract. I don't know. Something like that.
Tesseract's from Marvel, isn't it? It's probably called Tesseract.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Tesseract is the Marvel thing.
The Marvel thing, right? Yeah.
Norse mythology thing.
Yeah. I guess Tesseract is used in a few different stories then.
Mhm.
The Allspark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, Bitcoin's trying. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to get there.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been like totally rejected yet by that previous high.
DOGE is pretty weak at the moment. It's not. Normally it's a Bitcoin clone.
Well, there you go. The Tesseract is the container for the Space Infinity Stone used to control the matters of space and create portals in the universe. The Allspark, at least based on my knowledge, is where Cybertronian life originates from and ultimately returns to for reincarnation. There you go, the Cybertron, the Tesseract. So, but yeah, it must be like a plot device in many different like stories. Because doesn't Iron Man have a piece of the Tesseract in his chest or something?
He has a mini reactor.
Yeah.
That he creates.
Ah, yeah.
Loki
You guys
always
all know
has
your
the
cat.
Tesseract.
Hmm. Yeah, damn, that's a
The
nice.
Tesseract was just a prism for the Power Stone anyway, so.
Yeah.
That's a nice scoop. Look at that rounding bottom there. That's like a cup and handle. Definitely a cup and handle.
On a very
mean,
small
it's-
time frame.
Yeah, on the 1 minute. I mean, people do like to argue that small time frames don't have structure, like patterns, but I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I think cup and handles are just as valid on the 1 minute as they are on the daily, you know? It's just one's obviously going to have more of an impact than the other. But hey, it's fractals, right? There's your cup. There's the handle. There's the break of the neckline of the cup. And then bang. Yeah.
So if it was to follow a proper cup and handle, it would go down a little and then zoom up? Is that?
Yeah, so I mean, a textbook cup and handle would be where the neckline of the cup is actually horizontal, I suppose, like something more like this. So if it's basically like a double top that gets broken on the third attempt at the resistance. So here's touch of resistance here, and let's say that the price actually came up to test that same level, and you double topped, and then it's a retracement, and then finding support, and then reapproaching the resistance and breaking it. That's a cup and handle. So it's known as a bullish continuation pattern because you're continuing the overall trend up. So it's continuation. Whereas reversal patterns, they change the trend from one direction to the other. So a head and shoulders will be like that. And then inverse is like that. Inverse head and shoulders is the other side, the other direction. But yeah, some people try to point out a head and shoulders that exist after a downtrend, which is invalid because it's coming off a downtrend. It's, you know, you can't get a head and shoulders off a downtrend and then say that it's going to continue down, you know, like this. This is an example of what is not a head and shoulders. A head and shoulders is this. Yeah. So this is a continuation. So that, yeah, there's obviously some kind of structure within there, and it's more likely to be maybe like a bull flag as a bullish or a bearish continuation. Which also works in the other direction, bullish continuation, right? Yeah, that's the gist of it. But yeah, damn, Bitcoin's been doing this a few times here. Like you can see a scooping low here, and then up, and there's one sort of here as well. It's kind of like a nipple one here, and then yeah, like kind of like there. Definitely here we just had. So yeah, it's been doing it a lot. Yeah, I'm still feeling optimistic that this resistance will break, but we'll see. No guarantees, hey. 44 likes, damn, it's good.
I actually don't understand, like, why do these patterns form? Like on a fundamental level, like why is it that?
Like, is it natural? Like, is it something that's unconscious, or is it because everyone's looking for those patterns? Like, everyone's familiar with the pattern and they trade into it, like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. Yeah, it is a good question. It is a very good question. I think the deal with falling, you know how falling wedges are a bullish pattern and then rising wedges are a bearish pattern. And if you think of markets, like just to boil down like the market movement in very simple form, like this, right? Like a sine wave, up and down, peaks and troughs. Your rising wedge is going to be a structure that forms off an uptrend, yeah? Like something like this. So the expected natural move off that would be down, like you're breaking out of it to the downside. And then the same is true, like in a downtrend, you'd be forming some kind of like falling structure, falling wedge. And the expected move after that structure is a bullish breakout. So that's essentially, that's like the, you know, the gist of it. That's the basics of like why they play out that way.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So a lot of action we see is bots moving then?
I mean, I think the bots, like the algos and all that, they're more trading off like smaller time frames, and they're just playing the order book. Like they just move to where the liquidity is, like to where, like let's say a whole bunch of people got bullish and opened leveraged long positions. That means there's a whole bunch of liquidations below that zone, right? So I guess these algos or these market maker bots will push and manipulate price to go down there to liquidate and grab that liquidity, liquidate those people. And same, is vice versa, right? With the shorts, like liquidity is going to be up higher for people that open shorts, and then perhaps that's they'll squeeze out that liquidity by pushing price higher. But yeah, I think that's the idea behind bots. I don't know how I mean, I've got no idea. It's all a guess, like how sophisticated these bots are and whether you can beat them or not. One way to beat them is to trade on much higher time frames, because they don't operate off high time frame. They're day trading tools.
That quant trading firm that pulled something like 40% per annum. What are they called?
Oh, don't know.
They're not super long, but they're not crypto. They're original stocks.
Okay, yeah. Don't know. Hey, is it? Don't know. Quant. Almost 1% up for the day.
Renaissance technology. That's
oh, Renaissance. Okay.
They just they do a lot of quant trading, so like quant trading. And they've done extremely well for the short time they've pulled in.
Yeah. I know that. Or what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, that bullwhip effect theory. That is his name. His surname is Barry or something, and he's the guy that predicted the collapse in 2008, the GFC, because of the housing market situation.
Michael Burry?
Yeah, Michael Burry. He is saying that we're in a bullwhip effect right now, and that we're going to crash hard next year. Like that we're on the cusp of a huge bit like recession.
Michael Burry is definitely a perma bear.
Oh, he's a perma bear. Yeah, he's always looking for crashes and recessions. Yeah. So
when he's right, he's right.
Yeah, he struck it big on that one, but he's been calling for recessions and crashes a lot, like, and he's been wrong a lot of times too. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hey. The thing is, recessions are a good thing in the fact that it creates opportunity, like it puts everything down cheap so that you can, if you're an investor, that's opportunity right there,
Mm-hmm.
What do you do at the top? You sell. What do you do at the bottom? You buy. Like, just boil it down to simple basic things like that.
And there's a lot of like value companies that on the ASX, for example, are really good value at the moment, which when we haven't been at like buying opportunities for the last 5 years, like talking like EHP and things like that, which is our biggest company in Australia.
Yep. Look at Sorry, go ahead.
Like a lot of companies have been quite expensive for the last, I don't know, 5 years because of just the market. But this year has very much created a lot of opportunity for long plays.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. The COVID situation, I mean, Qantas, because, travel, this was like the all-time high for Qantas, right? Or one of the highs, at least. I haven't really seen the history. Yeah, no, it was an all-time high. So they've been up on at least on this, in the ASX since 95. And yeah, there's pretty severe crash there, as you'd expect. And then it's done well to sort of like recover some, huh? Like it's almost back up to its all-time high, really. It doesn't have that
Yeah.
much further to go.
A lot of companies are starting to head back. I think
Yeah.
if you look at like the VAS or IXO, which are like our ETFs,
Oh,
tracking
okay.
our market, they're starting to head up back up to where they were. I got a bunch at $80, which I was super happy about. Now gone up to 91.
Sweet. Yeah, the ASX is looking. It got hammered in the last couple of months. Damn.
Big time, yeah.
Since August, yeah.
Michael Burry must have heard you. He just tweeted actually.
Oh, did he? What did he say?
Yeah. Well, I have been 6 foot. Well, I have been 6 foot for a long while. May get to 1.7 meters in time. He always says some weird shit.
Is that something a reference to being short or something? Like, because he's a short seller? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he's been saying some like short reference stuff lately.
Doesn't he like do one tweet at a time and then deletes it? So his Twitter has nothing on it.
Yeah, you have to follow the archive or the follow archive account that goes along with him
I see.
and just saves all of his tweets.
So how do you spell his surname? Is it B-U?
Burr, Burry,
Burry.
the Y at the end. And
Well, I can see the archive.
Cassandra BC.
Oh, is that his actual account, Cassandra? Okay.
Well, it's Michael J. Burry. That's his
Yeah, that's his. Yeah, okay, but
it's
his nickname on it, or whatever you call that. Yeah.
Cassandra.
I think he's called Cassandra, his wife, but also because something about Greek mythology or something.
Something like that, yeah.
That is
Stuff
very,
like that.
yeah, that is very cryptic. Well, I've been 6 foot for a long while. May get to 1.7 meters in time. 1.7 meters is a lot shorter than 6 foot.
Yeah, isn't it like 5'5"?
So he's saying he's going to get shorter in time. Is
Yeah,
that,
but
is
the other
that
day he
fair
said-
decipher?
He's
The other
as
day-
cryptic as Elon.
Here's the archive account, or one of them. There's like a bunch of them that follow him or whatever, but he said something about like people not being short, and then he said it's kind of weird. But I mean, with that being said, he also did say that he was long on GEO, which is like a
How long do his tweets last? Like a day?
maybe sometimes less. Yeah, GEO is like a prison operator, private prison operator, or something like this. Something to do with prisons. And he did say that he was long on that, like beginning of November.
That's in the comments. Sammed man. That's interesting. About, the first long contract was in the 1980s.
You just send another one. As for me, I like Hong Kong.
As for me. What the hell? That guitar that he's got up in his like thingy here. There. See how it says COBHC? That's the Children of Bodom Hate Crew. So there's a band in Finland, I think it is, or a death metal band.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
he
yeah,
likes the metal.
He's a heavy metal.
He's into heavy metal? Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
big
there's
time.
obviously the symbol of Slipknot between the pickups there, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, this As I Lay Dying, Ammo Amaranth Band, Parkway Official, Lamb of God.
Is that how you pronounce
Yeah.
it? I always call it Amoth. But
Oh,
I have
I'm on a
no
month.
idea.
yeah,
I'm
I
on a
saw them
month.
live actually. My God, that was a lot of hair spinning.
Yeah.
Benediction.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, look, he's
a
already
bit of a
deleted those 2 tweets you just did.
really. I'm a bit of a
I think so.
metalhead too.
No, they're still up. They're still up.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think one of my favorite bands is Death. Chuck Schuldiner. He's from Florida. I think, I don't know, maybe Tampa, I don't know. But he's known as the godfather of death metal, like the father, the pioneer. But yeah, he died years ago, like 2004 or something, 2002. Yeah, he's got a lot of respect in the death metal community.
Perfect.
What other bands? Carcass from the UK. So you know the guitarist from Arch Enemy, that band that has the chick that is this as the singer. I met that guy. He's a cool dude. Anyway, I've seen a lot.
Guys, Sheeb about to pop 40%.
Oh really?
What he said it.
Telling you guys Shiba about to pop 40%. Alright, let's have a look at Shiba. Shiba. Change watch list here. Yeah. 40% would take it to dizzying heights. 1,300 Shiba Toshis, roughly. Okay, well, we'll see. Bit retracement off the previous high down to the low here. Yeah, it's like a test of the 786 fib level from this low. So we haven't even started yet. Like we're below the 236 still, but yeah, I mean it is squeezing. Like there is evidence that it's winding up to something.
A lot of people are talking about it's going to go down to 13 and 9 and all these other values.
Yeah.
That would invalidate the rainbow chart, wouldn't it, or something?
Oh, you mean for
rainbow
Bitcoin?
chart. Yeah, sorry, for Bitcoin.
Yeah. So what were the numbers you were saying? The 13, 9K.
I think, I heard 13.
Yeah.
And I heard, I've heard 14, 13, I've heard 9. They're the three that keep coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be like a sign that it's dropped out of that huge rainbow chart. I don't know. Yeah.
It's like right at the like falling out of it right now. The darker blue area, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if that rainbow thing's anything to count on, the FTX Black Swan was just what pushed us out below it, and maybe we do recover that, and then go sideways around 20K for some time. I don't know. We'll see, I suppose. Yeah, I'll tell you what, there is a lot more bearish TA out there at the moment. People calling for lower numbers and everything than there is bullish. So that gives you an idea of like where the sentiment is. It's still kind of fearful. Or maybe not fearful, just bearish, right? Yeah. Not that anyone's scared about price going down. Depending on their position. I think I might go make a coffee. I'll leave the stream running and I'll be back in a few minutes.
I just made one. It's a good time.
Yeah. Perfect. Bit of a longer stream today. 2.5 hours in. I think I might wrap it up soon though.
Well, it's working.
Yeah, all good. So what is it, like almost 9:30 p.m. New York Eastern?
Sounds about right. 6:25 p.m. on the West Coast here.
Yeah. Prime time, really, I suppose.
Just trying, I think. No, probably just doing the same pattern. Is that a cup and handle on an hour of Doge? Hour chart?
of
Hard to say with all
Dogecoin?
these tweets. Yeah, Dogecoin.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly has like that rounding bottom to it. Yeah, I think so. I think it's starting to like form the cup. Yeah. Test of that high, and then if it comes back, finds support, and then takes off again. Yeah, could be.
It's hard to say with so much manipulation.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to jump off the stream anyway. Thanks for everyone that tuned in and smashed the like button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one, which should be tomorrow. I should be able to jump on tomorrow. But yeah, cheers.